So this is my version of John Brown's raid on Harpers Ferry on Fallout 3. Here we begin at Kennedy's farm, where Brown planned his operations from and trained his men. Brown started with a force of 21 men, but he left 3 behind when he went to Harpers Ferry. In this game you can only get 1 follower, so this dog is supposed to stand for the 18 men that Brown took with him. During the raid, Brown's men managed to cut the telegraph wires and seize a train. During this, though, Hayward Shepard, an African-American baggage handler, was confronted by the raiders, shot, and killed, becoming the first casualty of Brown's raid. This was my best demonstration of Harpers Ferry, or at least the armory part of it. Another city will be shown later that's more accurate, but this is basically just to show how Brown would get to the armory, which is here, and what he would do. Basically, he was able to just walk in. This fight never really happened, but for the simulation purposes, it was unavoidable. What he did, though, was he entered the armory and took all the guns in it, was able to arm his men, and in this, he doesn't really have any men. But he also planned on using the guns to arm the slaves, which he would set free. This part of the video is made to show how John Cook, under the command of Brown, was able to take some of his men to the surrounding plantations and free the slaves and capture their masters. Brown's men entered relatively easily due to the fact that John Cook had already scouted out the place before and had talked to Colonel Washington without revealing his real plan of freeing his slaves much later. Brown didn't only do this to Colonel Washington, but instead did the same to Terrence Byrne and a number of other plantation owners in Virginia. In this simulation, not only are African American slaves being freed, but all kinds. In Brown's raid of Harpers Ferry, he sent his men to free all the African American slaves on the plantations, but he also sent them to get their masters and bring them back with the slaves to Harpers Ferry. He planned to arm the slaves to cause more uprisings in more towns. This is probably more what Harpers Ferry actually looked like, with the B&O bridge that Brown used to get to Harpers Ferry from Kennedy Farm. What isn't shown here, though, is the railway that went through the bridge and also continued alongside the Potomac River and the Shenandoah River. These railways pretty much surrounded the area of the armory grounds, which Brown would take over. Now, both these guards and the guards that were actually at Harpers Ferry failed to actually guard it. Considering they only had swords, though, they really wouldn't be able to stand up to Brown's men, who were armed with rifles and pikes. The strange thing about Harpers Ferry is that for a southern city, it was very industrialized. And also, there weren't very many slaves that were there. Most of them were already freed. So Brown had to send men to plantations out around the area rather than taking over anything in Harpers Ferry. Eventually, the U.S. government sent Marines to take care of Brown and take back Harpers Ferry. The Marines were able to give Brown a choice after fighting for a while to let him surrender peacefully. Brown denied, however, and the Marines began their assault. They were able to break through the fortified armory door with a battering ram, and the Marines began to pour in. The Brown's men were able to hold the Marines back for a while, but none of them had the real determination that Brown did. This is shown by the dog in this video, holding back the guards for a while. Now, Brown was waiting in the corner, kind of hiding, waiting for his chance to attack. When he finally saw an officer, one of his prisoners, Washington, told him where Brown was, and the guard proceeded to beat and stab Brown unconscious. Once Brown was captured, He was given a trial and found guilty, sentenced to a hanging. During this trial, though, he gave his most important and most powerful speech. Being executed, Brown's resolve was tested one last time, as he did not show any sign of emotion during his execution. People close to him tried to see any signs of shrinking or trembling, but there was none. He remained adamant to his cause, even into his death. While Brown's methods got him arrested and killed, his devotion to the cause of the abolition of slavery never wavered. He and his raid showed the nation the true problem with slavery and pushed them one step closer to war.